There you go. Boom. There you go. All right, let me turn the music off. Let's get going. Y'all ready for this? There you go.
That's right. We're bringing it back like NBA Jam.
And we're off. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to episode 2 of the Across Your Bow podcast, bringing you a unbiased average look at everything having to do with World of Warships. So there, I am, of course, Sir Venom IK. You guys are here on the channel. Thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. Is Fitz in your mom? What up, Fitz?
What up?
There you go. And Mr. Swole PT. How's it going, big guy?
That's right. We are here. Yes, we're here, capable, moving, breathing, active.
So big news coming out of Wargaming today, World of Warships style. Not today, not necessarily today. It was a couple of days ago. If you guys are over there watching, or if y'all have seen the video already, y'all already know the CV rework is in hot contention.
Yes.
Now that's the thing. Also, the Alaska's released for super testers and community contributors, and the Terrible is also out there. Three huge things. Some things that are people have been waiting for a long time. Fitz, I know you're one of these guys. So we'll talk about the CV rework. We'll talk about these other two boats, and then we'll go into rank season. And then there's question and answerings. Guys, if y'all want to do me a favor, if y'all have any questions for anybody or want to comment or anything like that, please hit it at Mr. Swole PT here in the chat, or at Fitz and your mom, or at myself, at one of us three. And then we will address those at the end of the podcast. So thank you guys very much for hanging out. This is Across Your Bow, and now let's go. So what you guys been working on this week, bro?
Out just getting through the last of my 8s. So Sang Yang, OP. So getting through that. I haven't been playing ranked, so I can't comment on the state of ranked. But I know Fitz has, so he can talk.
Fitz has been. Well, we'll talk about rank season here in a little bit.
Okay, a little bit later.
Is there anything other than rank that you guys have been playing? Or have you just
you saw me working on my debt flags, and I did that.
Happy to say that.
Gotta grind the debt flags.
You got your debt flags. There you go. All right, so here we go. All right, let's just jump on in, man. Let's start with the Terrible. Have you guys seen this thing?
I have.
It is
speedboat extraordinaire.
It is so broken. It is so broken that the thing can mathematically do 50 some odd knots, but the speedometer here on the thing only goes up to like 48.
That's right. We're gonna have to change the rev limiter.
Yep. They've got the red line overload, man, going on, man. It's like Danger Zone over here when you hit that speed boost. This thing is fast. It's not very small. It's a relatively big boat. Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, I mean, it looks so much like an Agile with just a 300 shot of NOS.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. It's very, very fast. The detection on it is 7.1. That's full concealment build. That's pretty terrible. But
so you're gonna be
especially for tier 8, without the concealment on your captain, it's 7.9. That's if you put the concealment on the module itself. So it's 7.1 full detection build, and then 7.9 with just it on the modules. And then
so you're kind of like a Russian.
Sort of. I mean,
but your guns, right? So is it got the same Arky 139s? They punch, but they kind of have those.
Well, from what I've seen, is they do have the 139s caliber. Hang on, let me break this down, and then we'll go. Speeds at 54 kilometers. Torpedoes are 9K, 3x3 Udaloy style, one on each side, and then one.
That's nice.
One universal that'll go both sides. It's relatively low damage torpedoes, because I saw two torpedoes hitting for 21K. It's like one Shimitorp, which is okay, I guess. I don't know. The reload is 7.5 seconds.
On the guns, yeah.
On the guns, 7.5 seconds. It does get a reload booster though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's
got to like 1.8.
Yeah, something like that. 25-second gun traverse, so they're relatively okay from going from one side of the boat to the other. Not terrible slow.
No.
The AA is kind of meh. The gun angles are pretty terrible on this thing too. At any one point in time, if you might get 4 out of the 5 guns on a target. So to get all 5 of them, you really have to play broadside.
Is it
Yep.
tail heavy? Like,
Uh,
is it got more of a kiting setup, or are they front angled?
Well, it's 2 in the back, 2 in the front, one kind of in the middle. I mean, it's just like whatever you want to do. If you want to kite. If you want to run. If you want to push, you can push, but you're not going to be. This is a quintessential for 6, 7, 8 kilometer boat that you're going to be most effective in, from what I can tell. The range is 11.2 kilometers stock, 13.5 with AFT, and with IFHE you get 30 millimeters of pin on these guns. So this could possibly be an IFHE boat for some of you guys, because I was watching them, and there was a lot of shatters in the superstructure with these 139s. A lot of shatters. Anyway, so with the 139 millimeter guns, this is prime for IFHE. I think just to be able to get some damage on some people that you're gonna want IFHE. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you could. It is a lot of points because depending on the stock range, like I said, do you take it? Yeah, AFT, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of people have been setting up this Harry Gumo as just a pure gunboat, no concealment on your captain, and doing the 6.6 or whatever, 6.8, 6.9 detection. I'm thinking that this is the way. This is what you're going to have to do with this boat. It's not going to outgun something. It's tier 8, so you're going to see tier 10s all the time. So you're probably going to be outclassed, not outplayed. You're going to have to be very smart when you're playing this boat to do it.
Yeah, it looks like turret dispersion is pretty low too. And they do kind of have the loopy fire arc. Almost kind of reminds me of a little bit quicker American 5-inch Garion Fletcher type situation.
Okay.
But the reload for the is 1 minute?
What?
So they're pretty
for
quick
the reload.
The actual
the
reload booster?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Sorry.
I didn't get those numbers. I didn't know. I don't know, man. It'd be hard to play this thing without concealment. I think with concealment, I mean, it's still 7.1, so whatever. I don't know. I didn't really get to see it in action since I'm not a community contributor. I don't get my hands on these things as early as some of these other guys do. And from what I've seen, it doesn't really do much against destroyers. It's just a middle of the road kind of meh. It's a premium. It's going to be about $35 to $40. It might be fun to play, so you never know. I mean, I'm probably going to end up picking it up just to get out there and try it, just to see what I can do with it, so I can have an opinion on it,
It looks fun. You get, it looks like 1.7, 1.8, somewhere around there, and then you get that for 10 seconds. So it's kind of like seems to be the French thing going on. So for that, you do get a pretty incredible burst of damage, and then looks like you have to run like hell. But I know that ship in real life did hit like 42.9 knots or something like that. So it's not like some arcadey stupid thing. Of course you have
there's actually some
the speed boost, but it actually did go that fast. So good for the French. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Soul?
I'm curious to just play it.
Just curious to get your hands
That
on
kind of speed could be so fun.
I always like the speedy boats, man. I mean, like especially with these French battleships with the speed boost over there, getting it up and making it very quickly can be misleading to shots. You can get in and you can get out of positions pretty good. There's also something to be said, especially if we're talking rank season, about flanking with just the Republic.
Yeah.
I mean, you take it to the one side, and it goes good. I mean, you could get those side-on shots. You're subject to RNGs on your accuracy or whatever, but for the most part, it seems pretty good.
Yeah, especially like say a map like Sleeping Giant. Like where typically one side's going to get kind of brutalized. The Republic is like, oh, okay, well, Let me hit the speed boost. I'll be over there in a few seconds. Be even better in this ship.
Right. All right. So, final thoughts on it. Pick it up. That's my thoughts. Pick it up. Give it a shot
Très
before,
bien,
before
très bien.
people
I'll get it.
before
Definitely.
people make knee-jerk reactions.
It's like fun.
And so there you go. All right. So moving on to the next thing.
yo.
Something that is up your alley, Fitz and your mom, because I know you've been talking about this ship. Let's go into the Alaska.
For 4 years.
For 4 years, we've been waiting for this thing. One man alone waits on the bow of his ship for the Alaska. Tell me what you think, man. Well, or do you want me to let me break it down first, real quick, and then we'll
Let's do a breakdown. I've seen a ton of videos on it, so
Yeah.
I'm well versed. So
All
ahead.
right. So the speed anywhere between 32 to 34 knots. I never really got a good full speed on that. 60,800 hit points for a Tier 9 classified as a cruiser. 15 to 16 second reloads on it. The radar's 9.5 kilometers. The accuracy didn't seem too terrible. Slow shells. It took about over an 18 kilometer shot. It took about 11 seconds to get there. 305s. They're not going to be overpowered like the Kronstadt Stalingrad are 305s. And it's very mobile. I mean, like, I'm talking mobile. This thing turns like it's drifted, man. Holy crap, this thing is amazingly agile.
Like a mini NorCal that can turn on a dime.
Yeah. Downsides, from what I've seen initially, just my first couple of games that I've actually watched, the armor is not that great. It's 27 on the bow, I believe. So you're gonna be able to they're not gonna be overmatched by 15-inch guns. So most of the Tier 8s, Tier 9s or whatever, that 15-inch guns.
So you're gonna have to
fine.
use that maneuverability.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to use the maneuverability. You're going to have to try to find the auto bounce angles and play it kind of like a Richelieu, That's my thoughts, and I actually like the Richelieu,
Or even
so
like
it's okay.
An agile DM.
Turning circle is 850 meters, according to the chat.
Okay, so it's definitely much bigger.
Yeah. Your guns are going to get knocked out a lot because of the case armor on these things. It's not very big. And don't sit still. That's my initial thoughts. All right, Swole, let's take. What do you think so far? Have you seen any of these Alaskas being
So
played?
everybody's got there's something to be left to desire with the AP, right? Something left to be desired. Something's off a little bit. Everybody feels like they either need improved straight up pen, crew value. Something needs to be altered to get them to perform like people want U.S. rounds to perform.
No.
That's kind of what I've overall been seeing.
Well, from what I've seen, it's a little weird, because this is a battle cruiser and they have the light 305 shells. From what I can tell, I would think that it would have the Demoni's style heavy shells. I would think so, and because I think right now the 203s on the Demoni's pin better than these 305s. Fitz, what you take, man?
All valid points. I also cannot stand the disgusting turret rotation on it.
Like bad?
Oh yeah, it's like Yamato bad. But from what I've seen, I mentioned it yesterday in your stream. This guy is watching. It was some Russian guy. He was doing like a live stream for 2 hours, and so I just kind of powered through that video. And he got a Citadel on a Freddy from 16 kilometers away in the ass, and he's angled. So there's definitely, I don't know if that was luck or what. And then he was obliterating cruisers. 23k salvos pretty easily. And then he took it against 3 Hercules and then 3 Midways. And he was shooting down 50, 60 planes, no problem. So it's a great AA boat. It does turn on a dime. I do love that. I don't think unless they change it a little bit, it's definitely not a bowing boat. It's a mobile, go in and out of island, something type of situation, poke out, do some damage, run, and it does take damage. And I saw that it took fires pretty easily too. So he'll seem good.
with the armor scheme that I've seen, it's going to be IFHE is going to eat this thing up.
Yep, I agree.
IFHE is going to eat this thing up. It's going to be strong, but any of the other cruisers, the Worcester Minotaur are going to eat this thing alive. The Kitakaze, Harigumo, Akazuki are going to eat this thing up pretty quick as well. Other than
So you
that,
got like your Johnny Bravo situation, big buffy upper body, little itty bitty legs kind of thing.
something like that. But the guns, I think Fitz, from what I've seen, the guns are the biggest disappointment from what everybody else is saying. Just the lack of power versus battleships. I've seen a lot of shattered shells on the broadsides of Montanus, where the Stalingrad and the Kronstadt would have citadel the guy and done 2 or 3 citadels at that. The guy from less than 10 kilometers away shattered 5 shells out of the 6 that hit. So, and then bounced 1. So this from what I understand, from what I've seen, it's gonna shoot kind of like a Scharnhorst. You're gonna have to aim for that upper armor belt to get any kind of damage. The longer the range, obviously, there are pretty loopy guns, so you are going to get some plunging fires. Consistent citadels on the German battleships, from what I've seen as well, from 15, 16 kilometers, so that's not too bad.
Coming down vertical fire right through the decks and stuff.
Yeah, it really reminds me of North Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the shells,
so it's got
the
the
shells.
lobby shell.
Yeah,
Right,
the
yeah.
shells definitely, remind me of the North Cal, which is fine. I don't have a problem with the North Cal. What does that attribute to, guys? 1 to 2 extra ticks on your.
So that means there is going to be some floatiness to the shells that's probably causing the arcs to be a little. So that's why people are probably missing.
I don't think people are missing necessarily. I haven't heard of anybody, and I haven't seen anybody complain that they're missing shots.
Well, like missing the big shots is. I was going to finish with that, but yeah,
Oh, my
missing the
bad,
big
my bad.
shots on, you know what I mean? Because the shells probably got a little bit different lob to it. And so that mid range, especially, is probably getting out there where the shell's kind of coming up still, right? Like it's in a climb.
Sort of.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. I think people were expecting this to be like a Stalingrad, Moskva, Kronstadt type situation where you get these awesome 12-inch guns or 305s, whatever you want to call them, and it's not like that at all. It's like they North Carolina'd it, so they went plunging fire instead of just straight pen value.
Right.
Mhm.
I think there's something to be said that's kind of a Russian bias confirmed here, people. I don't usually like to dip into that kind of stuff because is it going to be balanced? I don't know. This is obviously getting pretty close to being finished, and hopefully they listen to some of these guys and they up the pin value on this thing, because having a tier 9 quote unquote battle cruiser going at these other guys, they were designed to fight these heavy light cruisers, and it does a good job. It does a fantastic job at doing what it was designed to do, fight these cruisers. And other than that, you're going to end up having to shoot like a Scharnhorst or very small guns, upper armor belt, to get any kind of damages on these things.
Or the dreaded HE. Yuck.
Mhm.
Yeah. HE, I haven't seen too many people slinging HE on this because they want to test out the pin values, but what do you think? What do you think on that?
I have. It was what was it, like 36% fire chance or something like that? I know it
Pretty
wasn't
high.
high, but it wasn't low.
It's the same as the Monarch chance. 35% on the Monarch at tier 8.
Mhm.
Same as the Dunkirk too. 35% on Dunkirk at tier 6. So I don't know, man. HE seems like obviously it could be viable for this thing. Not all the time. This is going to be a 60-40 split. You're probably, in my estimation, you're probably going to want to sling AP at these guys. I have seen some pretty weird citadels on some ugly angles on heavy cruisers at tier 10, and seen some stupid things broadside. It's going to be an overpin machine, from what I've seen as
So
well.
maybe the Krupp's fine. It's on par. It just needs actually flat out some slight tweaks to the.
Need some
Pen.
just straight up pin. It's just some pin value against these heavier armors.
Because if it's getting the good shots against the odd angles, that's a good sign.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. Thoughts on Swole? Let's start with you. Thoughts on the Alaska overall, then.
It's
Final
definitely going
thoughts
to be
on
one to look at it. Yep.
I guess
I'm
none
excited.
of our thoughts can be final because it's not a final
It's
in
not
the
final.
game. Now they have not released the information yet and see if it's going to be
Excited.
a free XP or a coal ship. I assume it's going to take the place of the Missouri, which is now no longer available and will not be available because of the credit. It was overpowered on the credits, apparently. Fitz, your thoughts on the Alaska overall?
I think just for sure, or sheer historical nerd value, I'm getting it. It doesn't matter what they do with it. I don't care. I'm getting it. That was the first ship I've seen people really ask for since closed beta, and I'm glad it's coming out. So, I hope they fix the guns a little bit. Otherwise, I think it'd totally be worth it. It'd probably be fun.
I think it'd be fun. Any of these other things, any of these other boats that are different, the Terrible or the Alaska, that the people have immediately and have played 5 or 6 games in this thing, and they've called it hot garbage, and they've called it terrible, and I'm like, I don't know,
The
man.
bearded Yaxman style, right?
Yeah, they're just like immediately go to that negativity, and trying to stay away from that myself, because there's some boats out there that a lot of people love, but I think are overrated, and a lot of people are going to hate these boats, and I think they're going to be fantastic. Both of them. I think the Terrible, obviously it's all in the player's hands, because if the player can play it correctly and smartly, then it's gonna override anything that anybody else says. So there you go.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and we all know little tweaks. I mean, God, look what happens when you change half a second on a fuse time on a shell, and what night and day that can do. So,
Right.
You get little tweaks. Let's see what happens, and then we can start. And again, let's be thankful we have a group of people who do like to make changes to their game, and they do it frequently.
And they listen sometimes. We're not going to discuss the Graf Zeppelin debacle. We're not going
Well,
to discuss that.
everybody deserves one big oops. And I think that's what you had there.
All right, so that's it. Any last comments on the Alaska before we move on into the big bopper CV change?
No.
Nope. All right. Okay. All right. So please note that everything that I'm about to say is all a work in progress, and this is all of our initial opinions based on a video that everybody's seen by now, and everybody's done videos on it. So you guys can have other opinions that may differ from ours, number one. Number two, please note that AA rework is not in this video at all whatsoever. It was very ideal conditions, so it made it look pretty strong and pretty overpowered.
Yeah. AI with no defensive fire, no
Yeah.
AA really active, no clicking, no. Yeah.
So, all right. So, some of the things that they were saying, the reason why they went into the rework to begin with, and I wrote these down. I felt like I was taking notes for class, but either way, they said there was a high difficulty, there was a very low popularity, it had too much of an impact. The AA system wasn't working correctly, disconnected gameplay, and AA builds and AA builds / their skills of the AA builds were pretty much worthless. Their goals to make it better, a better complexity curve, so you can feel yourself getting better, and they're a little bit closer in range, so you don't have this guy that has 1,000 games versus a guy that plays 10 games. That guy with 1,000 games is going to be better, hands down. There's no way, because he's got more experience, right? More enjoyable gameplay, a broader player base. They want to pull people into playing CVs more options to combat carriers, and then makes the CV great again. This is their ideal about it here.
Well, yeah, and I think what they got is a better look.
And before we go into any of the super details, just by what I've seen, and I'll give my opinion first, and then we'll go to Fitz and Swole here. I have some concerns. I mean, it's a good idea in general. And then, but there are some concerns that we'll get to in a minute. What's your initial reaction, Fitz?
Man, I just don't know yet. The whole working, I do kind of like the layout, like where you're doing the torp runs and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. Um, rockets, I know they had them, and it's like okay, well, I don't see a lot of damage from them, but I do see fires, and
that's what we need.
and the whole aiming thing, it seems to make it pretty easy to fire them rockets, and I don't know.
I don't know. Swell, what do you?
I
Your
just don't
initial,
know.
your
See,
initial
I
reaction?
I like what I see. I think it presents itself at least as a better thing that fits in line kind of with this game where CVs aren't such an apple and everybody else is an orange. There's a little more congruency between everybody.
Look at that big word.
You
All
can
right, so
have
let's.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's.
Damn you for being educated.
Let's break down. All right, you're going to be able to maneuver your planes around to avoid AA. So long range, medium range AA, you're going to be able to avoid that. No clicking anymore. It's WASD controls, so you can feel like you're actually taking control of your planes. Planned attacks are more effective, and that means on that run, everybody saw it. Your 3 torpedo bombers broke off, and then you saw the torpedo line. Now, at that point in time, as long as that guy's in that green section of your aiming cone, you can drop your torpedoes. The longer and the closer that you get, the better the aiming got. It got tighter spread, so there's no switching from I've got wide spreads here, or there's no, you can long drop for wide spreads, or you can stay.
That's what it looks
in
like.
for
That's...
other things. And it also shows a yellow line where the activation line is of the torpedo, so you have to drop before that. Lots more torpedoes were hitting from what I've seen, and well, of course, obviously ideal conditions here. Not all of your planes attack. All of your planes do. Once you go on that run, I don't know what your planes do. I guess they just kind of float around. Do they still continue to take AA? I have no idea.
It looked like they're well, and again, because of all the AA being kind of turned off,
Yeah, you have no idea. Number one. Number two, this is, from what I've seen, this is a breakdown in just pure alpha damage going to dot damage. More dots, more dots, more dots. And we'll talk about that here in a minute because there's a concern I have right there. So basically, you're going to try to stack fires and floods on people. Bigger squadrons. There was 12 planes in that squadron. You break them down 3 at a time, so you can attack multiple ships on one squad, which is okay.
yeah.
All focused on attacking ships. Fighters become an ability. No more deplaning because they're going to give you more planes. Attack planes with rockets. So if you have a enemy CV out there, you can push a button and then you can pull in some support fighters that will take out the support fighters of the enemy CV. I guess I think that's what it is. Each plane now has its own hit point value. And you can push, like I said, it's a consumable on the planes themselves to get fighters. Not too bad. No. It's an interesting concept. And from what I've seen so far, I think they might be going the right direction. It's going to make it more intuitive or more fun for these CV players. They feel more impactful. They feel like they're actually in the game.
Right.
Whereas in the previous iteration, you're sitting there on the map mode, and you're just like, man, whatever, and you don't really feel like you're in the thing, in the shit. You don't feel like you're in the shit.
Nope.
With the current iteration of CVs, and now this one, you will feel like you're actually involved in this game, like I am as I play a DD or something else. Let's see. Every plane has an HP pool. Close range AA guarantees the damage. So basically, they're going to be able to get their drops off no matter what your AA does, because they're going to take damage on every drop, pretty much every drop, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Long range medium AA targets the planes, can be dodged manually. Ships are with their AA rework. Ships are going to be able to focus their AA from a left side to a right side. Now, initially, I believe that they were looking at a 4-quadrant AA bubble, to where you could focus it forward, aft, left, and right, port, starboard side. It does take a little bit of time, so if they're coming in from the left side, Guys, you can switch over your AA all to the left side, and it will concentrate that. No more control clicking to get double damage or whatever it is. But if you do push it to the left side, then your right side's going to be weaker on AA. So it could be, if you happen to get a double CV game, you're focusing on one side, the other side's going to pop you, no matter what you do. So,
But I mean, those should be rare situations.
right.
Hopefully, there's other things helping to prevent.
From the gameplay, well, I mean that's my complaint, but there you go. There's the CV rework. There's a couple of nuances in there that we didn't touch. If you guys feel free to touch on something that you found important. Some things we'll let Fitz go first here and his thoughts on the CVs and his concerns on it, just based on what we said.
So I love the targeting, love it. That actually makes me want to play CV again, and my problem is that how strong are the CVs going to be now, especially with the anti-air rework type situation where you can manually dodge and stuff like that. And I'm kind of disgusted with, like you can focus fire on one side but become weaker on the other side. That's ridiculous to me, because it's like you have the same amount of guns on the other side. Who cares? You shouldn't be punished by being focused on one side. And I get it. It's all in the name of balance and yada yada yada. But I mean, that's cool. I think it'll give players that wanted to stay away from the RTS type boring thing, and top down stupid map view that you had before, and you get to get into the game more. It actually looks a lot more fun, but I actually, all three of us went through that part where CVs were pretty ridiculous, and is that going to happen again? I hope not. But otherwise, I do think that it is definitely a step in the right direction, and it's going to definitely change the game, so good on them.
It's gonna definitely change CV gameplay.
Yeah.
Their initial thing is they wanted CVs to be a game within a game, which I can appreciate because you learn all the skills relatively quickly, playing battleships, cruisers, particular styles of each line, and then you learn DD play in this particular styles of each of those lines, and then it's something completely different when you play a carrier in its current iteration. So now they're going to even change it even more. So I mean, it becomes a little bit closer to what we are feeling. We're able to control our ships pretty regularly. They're going to be able to control their planes. So it kind of evens out the gameplay between the surface ships and the aircraft.
Now, with the I had one question on that. From what I've seen, let's just say the torpedo bomber squadron, and there's like 12 planes in it or something like that. Is that it, or do you get 2 of those?
There's no limit. There's no limit on planes. They did not show how the proliferation of your your squads are going to be. But according to what they're saying, you're not going to be able to be deplaned anymore unless you just throw your planes away, which I find a little upset because they're going to be impactful throughout the entire game,
But they're being extremely cut down with how much vision control they have. It's no longer like you're playing Planetary Annihilation and we're all the zoomed in and this guy's playing, out from planetary view, dominating.
Yeah, and I did hear that they're working on, like, if the planes are behind an island, they're not going to see past that island. So
here's another thing,
which is good.
From my understanding. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of that realism thing a little bit. We talked realism, right? But it's enough of that connection of flying a plane and being behind something and realizing you can't see. I mean, spotting a plane from the sea is hard, and that's why planes have a real close detection. But it can be hard spotting boats from the air. So you have that element thrown in there a little bit better.
So from what I understand, you're just from an initial thing, from what I've seen, you're going back to how the squads are going to be distributed. Assuming that you can choose your particular squad that you can take out first. Assuming that, then once that torpedo squadron is done, all 12 planes have dropped their torps, they do damage or don't, they fly back to the ship, and then there's going to be a cooldown rearmor time. And then at that point in time, you throw up your next squad. You throw up your bombers to go out there and do their job. By the time those bombers are done, your torpedoes are back up again. You can throw that squad back and ready to go, and it will fill out that 12-man squad throughout however many planes that they give you. And then if you wanted to choose the rockets for the next time to go hunt DDs, then go take those rockets. That's my assumption here. And then there will be if you happen to lose all 12 planes, there's a cooldown time to get them all back up and going again. So Swole, give me your thoughts, man.
See, I like it for that element. Like, so people are talking, rockets and battleships. I'm sure the rockets won't have very much pen, and sure, there's a chance of fire. And again, that can always be tweaked. All they have to do is change the individual, fire chance per shell. But you have now an ammo type that's specific for each target without being this whole gimmick thing like deep water torps and stupid stuff like that. AP bombs.
Yeah. Well, they didn't show any AP bombs, and they didn't say anything about AP bombs being in this new iteration or not. I think AP bombs are a little over.
And again, all that you can still have it. They just need it a little bit tweaked more than it is played in certain things, right?
Agreed.
That's it. I'm really glad to see it. Like I said, seeing that stuff like where they were flying behind the island. He couldn't see anything. He was just over the cusp. He comes over the island in the plains, and all of a sudden, huge battleships like chilling there. It's like, okay, so see, that's nice that there's this field of view that you have a sense of fog of war with you, even though right now like CVs are such, like I said, vision control. Like you have a sorcerer you have Sauron just sitting there looking over everything for you. Where now, like, it's a little bit more balanced, and you have to actually like focus your efforts. And something I would like to see with this, I think they're going to need to help CVs, because CVs are going to have to, obviously, with their boats, be more active and moving with the fleet. They should give those guys a massive secondary range boost, because who really cares? Like, give them 10, 12 kilometers. I really don't care, because if you're, getting to the point where you're hunting the CVs that much, there should be a little bit of a fight.
Well, there's also didn't say one thing that they didn't do, which I wish they would have, is how are you going to control this CV? Is the CV just on auto fucking pilot? I mean, like there's a lot of issues with that, and there's some still mechanics that they need to work out. There's still some mechanics that they need to work out with that. Yeah, they didn't even show us at all about the CV. They didn't even show us the CV itself. All they did was focus on how each of the squadrons attack. And
maybe that's all their focus is on. Maybe they haven't really fully worked out that element, too. That could be another.
CVs are. We'll go into comments from the gallery.
But it's nice that it is different enough, because let's face it. Again, to throw a little bit of real, aircraft carriers were like nothing else the world had ever seen at that point.
Right.
So it should be unique in its sense. It should have a bit of a power advantage to some extent with that for what it was, right?
Yeah.
There should be some vision control, and it still looks like it can. But I think it brings it more in line where you still feel like you're playing this game versus, you're playing Command and Conquer while we're playing World of Warships.
So here's what we guys, if y'all see any comments that y'all want to comment on, just write them down, and we will get to those a little bit later. So my concerns, I'm gonna go into my concerns first, and then we'll go around the horn here. My concerns, and I think I like the direction. I like the direction that they're doing. It doesn't seem like CVs are going to be so broken that there's nothing that I can do at lower tiers. When I'm in a tier 8 and I play a tier 10 and there's a CV in there and I get one dropped, it's like I don't even want to play the game because there's literally nothing I can do. I don't mind dying to the CV at all, but I want to be able to defend myself, and I want to be able to actually play the game a little bit. Even if I die, I want to be able to play the game. But when you're getting dropped on in the first 3 minutes of the game or 5 minutes of the game or whatever, and they one drop you, that's a little bit strong. And so my contention is that in the current iteration, tier 10 CVs should never see tier 8 maps or tier 8 battles at all. for the simple fact that they're too strong for the tier 8 AA on some of these boats. I mean, like some of them, if you set up full AA, they can handle themselves, but they're still going to get dropped on, which is fine, and they should. But other things like the Charlie Martel, even a full AA can't handle that. It cannot handle that amount of firepower coming from a midway. So you take them immediately out of the game, and that's
they're
not
isolated.
fun. That's not fun for that player. And I feel that those are a little bit overpowered. Now, with this rework, and I know obviously, like we said at the top of the cast or at the top of the CB rework, the AA rework is not in this video. So until
And AA isn't even really in the video, just like
Yeah.
animations
well,
and a little
you
bit of
got to
passive
see the
fire.
current iteration of AA and how ineffective it was. It did do some damage to these planes, but I don't think I saw it shoot down one.
No,
the
and I
whole
don't.
time.
I don't even know if it was really on at all. Like if
Well,
it's
it
just more
was
for animation.
in the torpedo bomber squadron. If you go back and look at the beginning of the video, the AA
Oh, there's
is
one
on.
that gets taken out.
And
Yeah,
so-
the AA is on it, and like
Yeah.
it's gone through a hailstorm of fire. And I think I saw like 2 planes get shot down, and
But
was,
isn't that
I
at
was
close range? Like
"Uh."
it's within the close aura that
That's
stuff's-
within the close aura. So that's the deal. Some of these high
yeah.
AA boats like the Atlanta or anything like that, they're going to be able to be dropped on again. How effective is it going to be to shoot down these planes now? Are they going to take away the anti-aircraft bubble? Are they going to take away the anti-aircraft consumable? I mean, because that's what makes these boats shine is when they're against, it's a fucking no-fly zone. And I would like to still have a no-fly zone, but maybe they balance it out a little bit to where, yes, it's still strong, and yes, you're going to shoot down planes, but now you're going to get dropped on at the same time. So that's one thing that I've always been worried about with AA, and the reasons why I have a problem with these higher tier CVs above tier 8, 9, and 10. That their planes are too strong, and my AA is too hit or miss. It's too RNG based. So maybe this breaks it down a little bit with this AA rework and makes it a little bit closer to each other.
Well, now that you got guaranteed health pools instead of it being a thing, maybe the numbers get tweaked a little bit, and soon now you actually have a legitimate way of draining health
Yeah.
from a plane.
But until they implement it and show us the AA rework, then it's going to be up in the air, and that is just going to continue to be a concern. My next concern: dots, more dots, more dots, more dots. Holy
That's mine.
crap! This
That
is
is mine, absolutely.
This is my biggest concern of what I've seen just by this thing. You have to. I am on fire a lot as it is right now, as battleships or destroyers or cruisers. I am on fire all of the time. My damage control party cannot keep up with this. And now they're going to add these rockets that do very little damage, but they're going to put a dot on you. I'm thinking that all of this fire chance, all of this flooding chance needs to be toned down a little bit before we get into this CV rework, because then it's going to be way too strong.
Or like I said, you can give a global health boost, you can do a global reduction in fire chance, you can do an idea a shattered anti-ammunition equals no fire chance. There's all sorts of little things that they can do to kind of help tone it.
The whole breaking off the planes type thing, though, like you can break them off. You have to just sit there and let it, like, this guy's got me flooded. Oh, look. Oh, only half his planes broke off. Look, they're still sitting there. Another torp run. Great. Oh, now I can use my repair after 20k damage has been happening, and oh, cool.
Hopefully he's
here come
in a
the fire
situation-
planes. Oh, here come the cruisers. Oh, look, there's a DD there too. Oh, great. I'm dead. Sweet.
Well, hopefully in that situation, it sounds like you're isolated by yourself. Hopefully there's teammates to balance that situation.
I even think that
Because it is a team game, so we should rely.
Well,
We
exactly.
shouldn't be just self-reliant to defend ourselves against everything.
So that's my biggest concern. I'm not going to be able to keep up with all of the fires that I'm not able to keep up with all the fires that are in the game now. And now you want to add something that can pinpoint fire chance and have multiple fires, multiple opportunities to set you on fire in one little squad. You have 4 chances to hit me with torpedoes that are probably going to flood. Let's be fair. With my luck, I'm going to get flooded on every one of them that hits me, and so I have to hit that repair. And now that's the first two. I get double flood on the first drop. He has to sit there and wait. I hit my repair button immediately like I'm supposed to. Here comes the next squad. Now I'm flooding out, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's literally zero that I can do about it. AA has got to be on the spot for being able to shoot down some of these planes to deter some of these dots that I'm getting. So
I'm sure it
that,
will.
and again, until we see that, that's going to be there, and that's going to be my biggest contention for this rework.
But I think a boat that's isolated by himself should be able to be killed by
Well,
any group of boats.
well, yeah, obviously, we should be okay. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
he's in a but. And another thing that just now that you've said that is how passive is the game going to be now when there's a CV in the game?
Right? So everyone's just going to group up and slowly move forward.
Hey, get rid of domination, make it a
No.
literally team deathmatch.
Domination is like the best game
Then
mode
the game
they
will
got.
never end.
Oh, rush mode in boats.
I mean, like the slowest game modes that are out there right now, standard.
Or standard. Get rid of standard.
Standard
and
battle
put team
gotta go.
deathmatch. Yeah.
Standard battle's gotta go. Give a team deathmatch. I don't want to just float around and there you go. You can have a cap, and then you win. That's it's a boring game mode, and it encourages slowness. It encourages slow play. This is not what this game needs. This game is slow enough as it is, as we see in the ranked season, as we see in the clan battles. It's a very slow paced game and a very not an exciting game by any means whatsoever. So the dots, if to fix some of these things right now, you got to make fire prevention better. You got to up that fire prevention. You need to up it to 30%,
Yeah.
40% fire chance. That number one, that will take out some of the fires that I'm going to inevitably get from the cruisers that are shooting at me. They're going to have to lower the DCP across the board. I mean, the whole take out the shattered shells from HE cost fires. That would go a long way to help
I think
as
that's
well.
legit and easy to do. You can make that change legitimately, and I think it would be surprising at just how much it could change. So many boats do that, right? They're like shells are doing absolutely no damage, and they set you in a 3-alarm blaze, and you're like, really? Come on.
You're like, yeah, exactly. No
It's
damage.
like, look, your boat can literally do nothing, so quit wasting your time. You need to torp run or relocate or allow a friend to help you.
Yeah. So there's a lot of concerns there. Your concerns, Fitz.
No, like what you said, dot damage, smart CV player, lands a torp run or a fire or whatever, stands back, and then the team's gonna know, okay, this guy Damcon, light him up, fire, and then all of a sudden torp planes are back up, and it's just so they need to I don't know, lengthen the repair time or in between the repair times, shorten it, give you better AA bottable, so all sorts of things. I know they can work on it, and they'll.
Yeah, like I said, everybody has.
It's not a
20%
hard thing to
more
work
health.
on, so. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, the problem with 20% more health, and I see what you're getting at, but the problem with that is that fires ticks off of how much hit points you have overall. So if you give them 20 more hit points,
No, we're not gonna. That doesn't have to be the rule though. So let's
Yeah.
throw the game out and just say fire. It ticks 27 seconds at this tick rate. Well, cool. It does nothing else different. Keep
Right.
all that the same. You just can boost. You can boost the time. You can do all sorts of other things.
I just have a hard time. I just have a hard time seeing where this balances out. All right, your concerns, Swole.
It's really up to what the CV ship is doing. Like I think we need to see that next because that's going to be what ties this all together. What's that doing in the meantime? Does somebody literally have to multitask all the time? What kind of dynamic is that going to play out? Do you have to like click on a boat and be like, I'm going to follow you, like you're playing World of Warcraft and you follow a friend while you go and do something else, like I don't know how that's going to work. We need to see that. I don't want it to be, click and win. on any side of the spectrum. So it just needs, yeah. The tick damage stuff, I think that they can do a lot, and I think that there has to be something in the works for that they're just not telling us with what you see coming down already. Like, it's inevitable. Everybody knows it. It's not like a silent issue like everybody talks that the dots are getting crazy for how it's limited in the game and what that health does. So they have to be taking that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Well, so overall, I think it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good change. We can we'll open up in Q&A here in just a little bit after we talk about ranked and stuff. But we'll open up, guys. If y'all have any comments or anything like that, please preface it with at SirVenomIK or at Mr. Swole or at Clayhole, so we can read some of those out there. Because some of you guys, I've been reading the chat. And some of you guys are making some really good points.
Or like I said, imagine all of a sudden, like we've talked even earlier today, you give a boat a fire extinguisher AoE bubble effect, and then maybe you don't need to really do anything else because all of a sudden people learn how to work with that and counter, oh, I just got set on, 3 fires. Shit. Oh, here, hang on. Let me come over, get my bubble. 10 seconds. Cool. 1 fire's down. 20 seconds. Cool. The next fire, however it needs to be. I'm throwing out numbers just to alliterate a point.
Well, I mean, we were talking the other day about this in the deal. How about a whole class of support chips? Put the smallest DD guns, put 5-inch guns on them, and not very long range, but relatively armored so they can defend themselves. Still give them a citadel so they can get blapped off the map when they need to.
Schnell boats.
Schnell boats.
We're all in the little Schnell boats.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, Schnell boats are coming back with the next patch, by the way, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But so there you go. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do to make this balanced. I want to see balance, and I want to see less fire chances or from on my battle sims. I understand we're big and we're slow and we're easy targets for CV planes and all that other stuff, but there's got to be some kind of balance to where it's just you're making my boat absolutely useless and vulnerable to everything. I'm vulnerable to fires. Now I'm vulnerable to aircraft and being continually set on fire. It becomes unfun, and I feel that if they don't balance this, a lot of people are going to leave the game. And I'm not one for, if they do this change, I'm going to leave the game. No, I'll continue to play it, but if it gets so frustrating, then I'll just quit. You know what I'm saying? We'll go back and I'll play some more Star Trek for another month before I can, I mean, there's a lot of frustration that goes along with this change, and for us battleship players or us cruiser players or destroyer players. And that's looking at the negativity side. On the positive side, CVs are going to actually feel better about themselves. They're going to be able to do things, and I like it. I mean, I like the change. I like that they know that there's an issue. They've addressed that there's an issue, and now they're working on trying to fix it. So we'll save our final judgments for when it actually releases and everybody is able to get their hands on it and play it, even during the super testers. I hope the super testers and community contributors have some kind of similar thoughts to us. This is way too much fire. We've got to nullify some of this fire chance that these guys got. And Swole, what do you think?
Yeah. I was just reading this idea of what if they took the CVs out of the game. So then the hard part is.
Hey, he pointed that towards me. I was supposed to answer that.
Yeah, go ahead, go.
No, go
Fill
ahead.
on it.
Well, we'll get to the chat comments here in a second. Play on with what you were going to say, and then we'll roll into Fitz, and then we'll move on to the next subject.
Oh,
final thoughts on the CV.
I am optimistic. I have questions still, but I need more information before I can draw any solid conclusions.
Right, Fitz.
Final. It looks like the layman's gonna be able to, at least have an interest and have some fun, get into the game, and that's cool. It changes the dynamic, and I think they needed that. And so, like I said before, I like the direction they're going. Just I don't have any information except for really that one video, and so we'll see.
All right, same thing with me. My concerns are still there. I'm not going to get too upset and salty about it right now because there's still a long ways away. This is just the initial thing. One thing that they did say that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention during that stream that they did is that they said that the really good CV players were down in the basement working on this thing. And I'm like, wow, this guy was not a good CV player who's playing this thing? It looked like pretty good to me. So who knows? If somebody wants to go in there and they want to learn how to play these boats very effectively, you could be the next.
Come down to the basement.
Come on down to the basement and practice, right? There you go. So
And put the lotion on your skin.
so my concerns
Or
are
else
still
it
going
gets
to be
the
there.
hose.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets the hose again. Yeah, but
That's
no,
right.
because it won't put out fires.
That's right.
There you go. So my concerns are still there, and they will always be there until it actually reworks, until it actually is implemented. So that's my concerns, and I will continue to say those concerns. Swole's concerns are still valid. Fitz's is valid as well. So there you go. All right, let's move on into the next topic. We'll get into comments from the chat here in just a second. Rank season updates. Swole hasn't
I'm not
had,
playing.
You
so,
haven't even had time to play
no.
it? Now, is it boycotting it, or are you like, fuck tier 10, or is it just because work schedule? And
Work schedule. I'm broke as a joke in game, so when I do play, I just want to credit grind, and I don't want to stand the frustrations that it seems to be out there. So
yeah. And Fitz, where are you at, man?
Right there with you, bud. Rank 5.
Up at rank 5, yeah.
Yeah, just waiting. I just hate. If I could continue playing the way that I like to play and not doing the bow in, try to punish someone that's trying, that's caught out, whatever. I like to make that situation, like the match where I got into tier 5, I dev struck a Stalingrad and a Yamato, and that was just because I knew where they were at. I moved myself in position and I deleted them, and it felt good, just at tier 5, those people, they just are tier 5, rank 5 and above. Those people, they're the ones that are representing the top. They sit
guys.
in that spot. The purple guys, exactly.
Yeah.
They're doing the King of the Seas tournament. Da 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 da. They sit Balin and Yamato. They wait for one mistake. Just boring. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit, and then I'll probably hit it this weekend, see what it feels like again, and then move forward.
As for me, 108 games, I hit rank 5. I'm pretty happy with that. It's probably not the fastest I've ever hit rank 5, but it's been the most comfortable season so far for me. I didn't feel pressure. I mean, like, last season was so much pressure to get done because it was the black season. And turns out that's the last season that they were going to give it away. For hitting rank 1. Now you have to collect steel. So some of these guys like Fitz, if you haven't saved your steel or if you spent your steel, it's gonna take a couple more seasons.
peace be still.
Yeah, I think by the current rate, I should get. I'm not getting the black. I don't need it. Don't really care for it. Stalingrad looks fun though, so I should have it next ranked season.
Okay, and you can also supplement that by playing in Clan Wars to get the steel as well. So that's
Which
something
I
to be
do
said.
that too.
Yeah. So yeah. So I haven't played too many games. The last 9 games that I've played, I've won. Over the course of 2 days worth of gameplay, I played 6 games one day, lost the first one, won 5 in a row in the Yu Yang, and then we hit rank 6. And then 2 days ago we played Yu Yang again and won 4 in a row, and I hit rank 5. So I was like, okay, I'm done. I'll be done until probably this weekend. When some of these other guys are having a chance to rank out, and some of the guys that I've been playing against at rank 6 and below kind of move up, and I think that was a smart play on my part, because God knows, out of last season, pounding out the 400 something games that it took me to play, it burned me out, and I had to quit playing for a while. I took a full month off to go play something else, and that hurt my soul, because I love the game, and I hate not enjoying myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. See, and I just want to avoid all that. So.
Yeah. There's still something to be said. The games at rank 5 are still very slow play, very sit and wait, and very, very, very not my play style. My play style is to, number one, my play style is to be a destroyer and go hunt those DDs. I'm going to take the Haragumo, I'm going to take the Wu Wang, and I'm going to go hunt those DDs and get them off the board, because if you can get rid of those DDs, then we have spotting advantage. We can do more things, and which pushes the enemy team on their heels. So I think that's the right way to play it, and not just sitting there and waiting for things to happen. But either way, that is what it is. So ranked season so far, your impressions, Fitz, still tier 10.
Yeah, well, you and me, we started tier 10, because we hit rank 1 last season. So, I definitely, so the hell that was last season really helped me out. I made rank 5 in 63 games. And then I was just familiar with the top tier guys. Like, I kind of knew where they were going to go. And then once they really started, getting the higher ranks and stuff like that, the mid tier players, I dumpstered them, and it was kind of easy to do, especially in a Montana.
Yeah.
I tried the Yamato, I tried the Republic. Like in Clan Wars, I tend to be the radar cruiser, just because one of our clan members only has a Montana, and I'm fine with that. And when he wasn't playing, me and Gods were switching between Battleship, and we both did good. But like, I find myself a lot more relaxed. I'm having fun this time, and like I don't have a problem with the Haragumo. I do have a problem with the Yu Yang. That is such a strong ship right now.
It is. It's very strong, and I argue. I know it's supposed to be relatively close to the gearing, but I think those guns hit harder.
I think the guns are better. I saw Yu Yang. I have yet to see a gearing take out a Yu Yang 1-on-1 this season.
It's been very difficult. I know last season I was trying to fight them with Z52, and I could do it, but it had to take a little bit more finesse to try to kill these things. They're strong, and I argue that the Chung Mu is that's just going to be controversial. I argue that the Chung Mu guns are better than the Fletcher guns as well, even though they're statted the same. They have all the same stats. They feel stronger at tier 9.
It's something about that Mod C thing. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I mean, if you go the exact same 19-point captain on the Fletcher and the Chung Mu will probably come out on top more than the Fletcher will.
But one funny thing that did happen in ranked is that I dev struck 2 DDs. One was a Haragumo, one was the Yu Yang, and I was behind an island. They knew I was there, but they tried to go behind the island and then do the old torp run on me. And I hit both of them with all 12 shots, and the rage on that was so funny because they were within, all of them were within 4 kilometers. So I took them out. And they're like, that's too strong. And I'm like, dude, I hate you. And like, they were both flaming. I was like, I hate you both with all 12 shots. What are you talking about? I should have done that, and
you should have been rewarded for
and
that.
We won because I killed their destroyers, both of them, and so it made me feel pretty good. So I've been having a lot of moments like that.
Destroyer slaughtery. I don't know how else to say it. Is so key in these boats. So like when you're playing a Worcester's so strong this season. My God, this thing is ridiculous. If you play a Worcester and you play at full concealment build, your range outspots your detection on your radar.
Radar range outspots your detectability.
Not by much, but it does. And 8.7 on the Minotaur. And so these boats are very effective at destroyer hunting and doing that job. Now they are, once the destroyers are gone, these things become destroyers because there's nothing that can outspot them, right? So they can, I'm spotted this guy. Now let's turn around and let's back the fuck up because we need to get out of here because we're vulnerable, blah, blah, blah. Yada yada yada. So things like that happen. So what have you seen so far out of what is this? 2 weeks, the second week now that the rank season's been going. Maybe second week. So far, Haragumo's really good choice for a lot of people if they play it slow play it, and they can hunt those DDs.
That's an if.
Well, obviously.
But what I've seen, interestingly enough, is I've seen Kaba players like 10 times more than last season. Just for that Haragumo, and it's actually fun to watch them duke it out. But what I've seen is that the Kaba takes it out. simply because of the heal. That's it.
I would say so. I mean, if the kebab can get that Harry Gumo at 10 kilometers or further, then the kebab has advantage because of the loop on those guns at 10 kilometers on the Harry Gumo. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. That battleship wise, what are you seeing? I'm seeing a lot of Montanas. I'm seeing a shitload of Yamatos. A very few Republics, very few Conquerors, the occasional GK out there, but GK I still think is probably the worst for rank season.
What I've been seeing is I don't see like 2 Yamatos in a Montana. I see a lot of like a Yamato or a Republic, a GK, and a Montana, which is kind of fun and interesting. What I've been seeing a lot from the Republic is HE Republic. Someone found out, they have like, what do they have, like 46% fire chance?
Yeah.
Is that right? So
Something
I've been
like
seeing
that.
a lot of HE flingers, even when I'm broadside, and I'll be like, okay, sure.
All right, you
Right
keep
on, bud.
doing that, buddy. Keep slinging that HE on me.
Oh, I thank them in chat.
Yeah, exactly. Cruiser wise, you've seen the standard smattering of it. I've seen Hindenburgs. I've seen a lot of Zows. I've pretty much seen all of them. Pretty much seen all of the cruisers at tier 10. Lots of Demonis, a few Salems, not too many Salems, but a few of those. A couple of Stalingrads here and there, a couple of Moskvas. I think the Moskva and Stalingrad, as strong as they are very limited in their mobility, and I don't think that they're the best choice for ranked season. Impact of the Stalingrad. I know a lot of people are like, Stalingrad's OP. It's not really that OP. It's
In the beginning, it was. No one knew how to like
counter it.
take it down. Yeah, and then they realize it's like, okay, well, you go to the side of it, and it's pretty squishy.
Yeah.
And, you just burn it down. Easy.
Yeah. Conqueror is the natural predator of the Stalingrad.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. Also, IFHE Henry will pin that bow, by the way. 51 millimeters of pin.
Been seeing a lot more of them lately, too.
Yep. All right. So, any thoughts on the rank season, Swall? I know you wish you probably could get in there and play a little bit
It'd
deeper.
be nice
than
to play some, but whatever.
Fitz.
You guys
thoughts?
have a good time.
A lot more fun. The plethora of new ships is nice. You don't see 3 Hindis on one side and 3 Des Moines on the other side anymore. I've seen a lot more balance with radar ships too. Usually, if there's 2 radar ships on one side, there's 2 radar ships on the other side, or at least like one side will have a radar cruiser or something or other, and then a Yu-Yang, and
Right.
So I'm pretty happy with that too. So I think overall it's a lot more fun. A lot less salt in chat. There's still plenty of salt, but a lot less. So a bit more enjoyable.
There you go. My thoughts: Tier 10 still terrible for rank season. Destroyers are impactful, but a limited impactfulness because of the radar. It is a very slow game. I still think Tier 8 is a more active game. Tier 6 is more active. Tier 7 kind of falls in that same. It's a very slow play because the battleships aren't that great and the destroyers aren't that great compared to the cruisers that are very, very strong. This is a cruiser-heavy season. I have had games where it was 3 DDs and the rest of them were cruisers, and I've had games where all of it was battleships and one destroyer on each team. So it's been a wide variety of interesting team setups this season. A little bit more of a variety this season than it was last season, but I have not yet.
How many CV games have you had?
3 or 4, not too many. Just a
I've
handful.
had like 2.
Just a handful. I honestly think that CVs are in their current iteration don't belong in ranked season either. Just saying, why are they doing it? Not doing it in Clan Wars. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it in ranked season? I think that there should be some kind of opportunity.
The power of calm, I guess, is what their logic was.
Yeah. So there you go, boys. That's what we got for the ranked season. Still don't particularly care for Tier 10. Would love to see it.
One more thing on that. How many sync drops have you seen?
I've had one game with 3 people from the same clan on the enemy team, and we slaughtered them. We absolutely
Have you has it been less for you though? Have you noticed?
Not. I've been so hit or miss with it, and I haven't really been paying attention because I've been trying to keep it calm. So I've only noticed it once. But I'm
Gotcha.
sure that there's other. I'm sure that there's other things. Like I would love to get you in a game because I usually win. and
Right.
and if Ozimo was here, he would tell you the same thing. I love seeing him in the enemy team because I think out of the 3 and 4 seasons that we've played, or this will be my 6th season, I don't think he's beat me once out of those seasons when he's on the enemy team. So I like to see you guys over there because we usually have a good game against each other. So that's always fun to see. But yeah, any more thoughts on rank before we move into the Q&A? I'm sure you guys got some good comments here that you guys have been saving up.
Zambidi, if you're here, I love it when you're on the other team. Just saying.
Thanks for the host, Aimbot. I do appreciate it. All right, guys, so let's move off of the ranked season. Let's go into the Q&A here. Did you guys have any? I have one comment that I would like to throw out there first, and then if you guys have any of the comments, if y'all been paying attention to the chat as well. Now's the time, guys. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and post them, or if y'all have any comments, y'all can repost your comments and preface it with us, and we will comment on that and give you our opinions. There's one thing I can't remember who said it. I didn't write it down. Anytime that you repair a fire, why not put a 15% AA boost while it's on cooldown? That is a brilliant idea. That is such a good idea.
Wait, anytime you're on fire?
Yeah, no. Anytime that you hit your repair button, your DCP, it gives you a boost of AA while you're on cooldown. So maybe it would shoot down some more planes and you don't get on fire again for a while.
Well, I mean, if you go that route, why not just give every ship an AA boost?
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Well, I mean that's current iteration things that could be thought of. 15% is really not that much in this because it's all based on RNGs.
No, it's the equivalent of clicking on something right now.
Yeah. Disciples said that one. Thank you for that. So what's next? Somebody wants Russian battleships. I don't know who that is. I wonder.
You get battle cruisers. They didn't really have battleships. There was no need. They were all sea-bearing ships. What ocean did they really have to
They had
fight
rented battleships. I
had
think what was it? The Mississippi went over to Russia or something like that.
Sure, but that's like way after the fact, right? I guess if they get like the 1955 ships already in this game,
Right. It's not like they don't have.
Right.
It's not like they don't have them anyway. Moscow and
With missiles.
yeah,
right.
rockets, missiles, tomahawks, all that. Other
We have Abrams armed to the teeth on these planes that we throw up and scout. And F4, or no, not F4, the MiG-29 come after you. Yes.
So Danny brings up a good point. This season I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm making better choices. I'm not just pounding out game after game after game this season. So I feel a little bit better about it. Did you guys pick up any questions or comments or anything like that you guys want to address?
Yeah, the Iridium 6 one. What if they took the CV boat out of the game due to the fact that CVs were rarely seen by enemy ships? How do you do that when it's an objective-based game? And then, I mean, I'm a huge naval history buff, especially World War II, and so what do you do? Like the battle that's coming to mind is like the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, and I know that Japan at the time had a lack of skilled pilots, but that's not to take away from the American AA, but even if you go back to like say Midway, what was the objective, Midway? So do we need to put a Midway map in the game and then, like make it like Ocean, but make it 5 times larger and just have the carriers duke it out? And then how do you win? Because that would take forever, so I think
it's hard if you take them up because then when you go to re-land on your planes, like where do they go? The map edge?
Yeah, and those planes were in the air for hours, so I know there's like a time and like the planes are not going they're not going 400 kilometers an hour or whatever they were back in the day in game. They're going quite a bit slower. And so
They're all dauntlesses and
Right?
hell divers, dude. They're all
Yep.
you don't want to go fast in those.
And so, I could see like maybe if they put in an option where it's like they did realistic battle, something like that, where it's more, like how it was, but that'd probably be boring. So I don't see how they would do that.
My concern is
You know,
this, on this whole topic about CVs not even being on the board. We already complain about the CVs being on the edge of the map and taking so long for their planes to get to where they're going and come back. It's like 4 or 5 minutes to go from one side of the map to the other to make a drop, and then 3 minutes to get back, and then the reload, and then 3 minutes to get out there again. So unfortunately, we don't know how the control on the CVs is going to go. The actual CV itself. Are you going to be able to maneuver your plane out there, get into a spot, and then launch your planes like you can now? I think that'd probably be the best way to go. You know, maneuver your boat out there. Okay, that's it. Now it's up to us to have a good positions. So that becomes a little bit more of a skill base there, positioning your.
Yeah, I'm gonna
positioning
click
your
follow for this guy, and we're gonna just tail him.
Right.
But then, like, yeah, because if you do that too, also you'd have a very predictable point at which your planes were coming in and out. So you put one little free safety gunboat destroyer out there, and he instantly kills. You know, put a kid on the map, and then boom, all the planes come into the map playable zone, and you know, AA bubble. That wouldn't be fair either, or
right.
practical. And you know, you'd have somebody doing it every game.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna go get the planes, guys.
Yep. Yeah, then we're gonna have isms. We're gonna escort carriers now. You know.
Yeah.
And then have escort carriers.
Yeah, and then those carriers will have pimps that'll get more escorts, and it'll just be all sorts of crazy.
Yeah, it'll break the fundamental gameplay if they do that. So the next question is: under the current meta, what CA line should I grind? That's the cruiser line. Any of them, they're going.
Yeah.
They're all good. All right, so they all play pretty much the same up until Tier 5. Tier 5 is where it starts to be a little bit different. So grind them all up to Tier 4, jump into the Tier 5. You have to play smart at Tier 5 and understand. You can't go wrong with the Germans. The Germans are pretty solid all the way up until the York, and the York has got some of the worst AP out there. Over 10 kilometers. So it's a different play style at tier 7, and then 8, 9, and 10 are solid, really solid. Omaha is terrible at 5 for the U.S., but then the lines split, and you get pretty good going up from 6 and above on the Americans. The French cruisers are very fast until 7, then it's not much of a difference. 8, 9, and 10 are fantastic. The Japanese, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are awesome boats. 9 is kind of a meh boat, and 10 is phenomenal. What am I missing here? The Russian boats, really good all the way up until 8, and then it's questionable at 9 and 10. Personal preferences, I'm not a big fan of 9 and 10, but they are solid, good boats all the way through the line.
Yeah.
And probably some of the best cruisers tier for tier at the line. 7's good, 6 is good, the Kirov is good, it's powerful. The Chappie's probably... They're all really good all the way through. There's no real downside to the Russian cruisers all the way. Am I missing anybody? The British cruisers.
British.
Starting at 6, it gets better. 5 is okay. 6 is better. 7 is phenomenal. 8 is kind of a downgrade. 9 and 10 are absolutely amazing as well.
You have to be a good shot in those boats. If you're not the early tiers, you're going to be so slow to progress because the rounds will just bounce and chatter.
There you go. Any comments? Any comments out there, Swole, that you wanted to comment on?
I
we got a few
think
minutes
we kind
left.
of went there with the C comment thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'd just be curious because you'd have always somebody patrol on the map. So I think the boat has to be there. It's just how are they going to implement that?
And any more comments out there that you guys want us to address? Go ahead and let me know now. Let me know now because we're almost done with the podcast here. So there you go. Any questions that you have, Fitz or Swole? I mean,
No, not really. I think I need to see more videos for this gameplay stuff. Now that they're giving me
Yeah.
teasers, let's get a little bit more out there. Don't leave me hanging with this for 3 months.
Yeah, it's the intro net. Damn it, give it to us.
Yeah.
Have you guys picked up any of your Dasha captains yet?
Negative. I'm gonna get I want one of the permanent camos over at the Dasha.
You want one of the permanent camos? Now I have picked up the British Dasha because of the British DDs that are the next line to come out. I want to use her, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play with her. You also, if you have Jack Dunkirk, that would be a good choice for DDs as well. So
Dunkirk. Yep.
I get paid in 5 days. I'm picking up all of them just because I can.
There you go. Also, Operation Dynamo comes back in the next patch. And you guys are going to be able to play Tier 6 and Tier 7 destroyers in this Operation Dynamo. If you guys remember this was the Dunkirk, when the Dunkirk movie released, they released this Operation Dynamo, where you're just a bunch of destroyers going in, picking up a whole bunch of dudes off of the beach, and then taking them back and trying to avoid the minefield, and then trying to kill the Schnellboats. Those things were ridiculously hard to hit. And then shooting down a whole bunch of planes at the same time. Yeah, so that is amazing, and I can't wait to see that, because that was actually a really intuitive, kind of a hard thing to get done. Once you figured out how to do it, it became rote. But other than that, Dynamo was a very fun.
Oh, it was
operation.
fun, and there was lots of stuff to it. That was probably the most interactive thing that they've given us.
Yeah, it was fun. And then
I enjoyed it.
Did that, and then followed by the Halloween one, which I always love to do.
I love the Halloween one, man. You know what? Let's be fair. The operations here are fantastic. It's a nice break. It's a nice break from normal gameplay, from randoms, from ranked or anything like that. You can get 5-6 people, from your clan together, or get anybody from the chat. And we do it here on the chat as well, or here in the stream. And we just have a good time with it, and that's all that it's about, is having a good time. The next question comes from Iridium 6. Have they announced when the Italian battleships are coming out? I haven't heard anything. I have not heard anything. They're still working on the British destroyers, and we'll talk about that next time when we have if we get any more information. I do have one concern about these British destroyers. They are coming out hardcore gunboats. And with all these gunboats being implemented, what does that do for torpedo boats like the Shimakaze, the Yugumo, the Kagero? These things are becoming less and less viable with the iteration of more gunboats, because
even the gearing.
Yeah, the gearing. Well, yeah,
because gearing's like middle of the road, but it's not gonna I don't know. It's just
why take gearing when you have daring?
Yeah. I love the gearing. I think the gearing is probably my favorite Tier 10 destroyer, other than the 52. And because of it's a jack of all trades. It can gunboat if it needs to gunboat, and it can hold its own. It can torpedo if it needs to torpedo. It can hold its own on both of them. And the more times that you put things that are stronger than that out there, it takes away some of that versatility. And taking away gameplay is I know they want to add something else, but they've just added the Haragumo line, and those are pure gunboats, just absolutely pure gunboats. And now they're adding more gunboats. So these other guys with these stealthy boats, they're getting power crept out of goodness, or out of favor, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, because these boats are good and they do have a place for this game. But you're pushing them with these gunboats. You're pushing them out of what they thrive on: the 5.4 kilometer detection, the 5.5 kilometer detection, going in and capping and spotting. Now the lower the 5.7 kilometers is on the Yu-Yang, I believe, or 5.7 on its detection. Some of these darings, 5.7, same thing. So it becomes even harder for these guys to want to pushing the game further away. And now you are limited to what you can do in these Shimakazes, the Yugumo Kagero. Now you're playing edge of the board. Now you're sitting there dropping torps, and that's it. So I find it highly discouraging that more gunboats are coming out, but in the end, I will play it eventually. So. Thoughts on those, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, with that daring, it's like because they're saying, oh, well, it's not going to have good torps. Who cares? If you take out all the other destroyers and then you give it that detection, okay, well, you're still going to flood the guy,
My
and you're
problem
still going
with
to get great detection,
That turn
and you can lead in the front and then get away. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Swole.
Oh, I was gonna say the way that they turn too. I do like that they implemented it, but you know what I mean. It's got an advantage now
No.
in
All
that
right.
close battle.
My thoughts on this is that it doesn't matter if people are having to rely on torpedoes, which is completely RNG based, unless you're within 3 kilometers. Completely RNG based is not a good line. You have to be able to do more than just torpedo and survive to be a good boat. So if you guys are relying on your torpedoes and counting on your torpedoes, then you guys are thinking about your ship wrong and you're thinking about your gameplay wrong, because it's not about those torpedoes. It's about your positioning and your willingness to put yourself in a little bit of danger to risk reward, right? So the closer you get, the more chance you have to hit your torpedoes. So there's the risk reward, and be able to get out. So unfortunately, that risk is going to be pretty low now, or pretty high now. So I think more people are going to err on the side of caution, and it's going to push Shimakazes going straight around the edge to the one line, trying to get behind people in torpedo. We're already seeing a lot of it now, as it is. And it's just going to get worse and worse as the time goes by. So either way, guys, that's going to do it for the podcast today. Thank you guys very much. Mr. Swole, thank you for hanging out with us, man. I know you got to go. Fitz and your mom, thank you very much again for coming back.
Anytime.
I do appreciate it. Swole has already had to bounce out. It is that time. Fitz, last minute thoughts here before we get out of here on anything.
No, I like what I see on the Laterable. A little bit of work could probably be done on the Alaska. Rank's going good. CV, we'll see. Internet, give me them videos.
Yep. Give me some more videos. There you go. Where everybody's sitting there waiting on more information. And with more information, we can formulate a better understanding of how these things are going to go. So until then, reserve your criticisms for it, and wait until it's actually finished, because a lot of people do like to go to that knee-jerk reactions, and knee-jerk reactions usually err on the side of, I am so angry at this thing that I don't even want to play it. I've already heard several streamers out there, I'm not going to play this game when this comes in, because that's game breaking. You heard it with the smoke change. You heard it with the stealth fire change, which was a huge thing for battleships when they changed that. So reserve your comments until it actually reserve your opinions until it actually releases. There's still a lot of information we don't have. The AA wasn't there. The Alaska's on super testing. It needs it. I think there's a couple of tweaks that they could do it to make it just a little bit better. It's pretty balanced as it is right now, but balance doesn't necessarily mean good. There's some ships out there that are very, very strong and very, very formidable up front, and then they're weaker on the back end. It's reverse for the Alaska. It's very weak on the front end, and more often than not, it's going to end up being a very good, very balanced boat on the back end of it. I'm saying, yeah, the armor's not that great. The guns aren't that great, but you're going to actually be able to maneuver this thing into positions to make it good. Does that make sense? Whereas the Stalingrad needs to be good up front because it's very limited. It's very immobile, I guess. It's a very stationary style play, and it needs to be strong, or it just gets pooped on, and then it's worthless. So there you go. So there you go. There's my opinions. There's Fitz's opinions. Swole, I love you, man. Sorry that we went a little long here. But there you go. That's it for episode 2 of the Across Your Bow podcast. We'll be back here as soon as we have some more information. I really haven't had a schedule set out for this thing yet, so we're still kind of up in the air. I am Sir Venom IK. Thank you very much for watching. He is Fitz and your mom. Say goodbye, Fitz.
Salutes.
There you go.
Love you all.
Boys. We will see you guys next time, boys. Now let's put the music back on.
Yes, music.
There you go. You guys want to jump in?